would not be engaging in substantive trade talks right now. You wouldn't be doing that.
Okay.
What might happen, perhaps, maybe you're checking around about the availability of another player, and while you're on the phone with a team, they say, hey, what are your plans with Shedeur? I mean, there could be things like that going on because teams have those kinds of talks all the time. But I'm sure at that point, that's where the Browns would say, no, we're not moving him. We're conducting a quarterback competition. We think he could possibly be our week 1 starter. We see some really good things in him. He came on really strong in the second half of OTAs and in minicamp, and we're not ready to give up on him.
The city of Cleveland hasn't had a quarterback they believed in for a long time. And now, when one finally shows up, someone the fans actually want, some people in the media are doing everything they can to make sure he doesn't get a real shot. That's the story nobody wants to tell straight. But we are going to tell it. Shedeur Sanders came to the Cleveland Browns as a 5th-round pick that the whole NFL draft world somehow turned into a controversy. Before he threw a single pass in a real game, before he stepped into a single team meeting, people had already decided what he was. Too confident, too flashy, too much of his father's son. And now, going into training camp with a legitimate shot to be the week 1 starter, the noise isn't getting quieter, it's getting louder. And some of that noise is coming from people who are supposed to be professional. Mary Kay Cabot is one of the most respected Browns reporters in the business. She's been covering this team for decades, and even she can't deny what's happening. There's a section of the media, a vocal one, that seems more concerned with managing Shedeur's exit than giving him a fair shot at success.
In certain places about trade rumors for, 2 members of the Browns quarterback room, and Dillon Gabriel and certainly Shedeur Sanders. I haven't heard anything. But have you, Mary Kay? Has there been anybody who's texting you about teams putting in calls about Shedeur, even Dillon Gabriel?
No, not at the moment. I think that the Browns are pretty committed to their 2-way quarterback competition between Shedeur and Deshaun, and I think camp will open up that way.
The logic goes like this. If Shedeur doesn't win the starting job, the fans are going to be too loud, too passionate, too much to handle. So why not just ship him out and avoid the whole mess? Think about that for a second. We're talking about trading a quarterback, a guy who hasn't even been through a full training camp with this team yet, not because of what he did wrong on the field, but because his fan base is too big, because people believe in him too much, because the reaction at Huntington Bank Field might be uncomfortable if Deshaun Watson takes the first snap instead of him. That's not analysis, that's fear. And Shedeur Sanders has been dealing with that kind of fear his entire career. Fear that he was only good because of his dad. Fear that Colorado's success was a programmed thing, not a player thing. Fear that he couldn't translate what he did in college to the next level. Every single step of his life, somebody has been waiting for him to fail. Waiting to say, see, we told you. But here's what those people keep missing. He hasn't failed yet.
Made it kind of clear they were moving on from them being the starter. This would be crazy where it's like, hey, this guy, he is legitimately in the conversation to be the week 1 starter. Well, I don't think you'd be talking about trading him. I don't understand about any rumors about trading Shedeur Sanders. I could understand Dillon Gabriel to some level, I guess, for a 7th rounder, but Shedeur, I don't think. You have a new head coach. Why would you do something like that right now? It doesn't make sense.
Well, you would not.
In the second half of OTAs and through minicamp, the Browns coaching staff started seeing something, not just potential, results. Shedeur was coming on strong, learning the system, making the throws, showing the kind of football IQ that you can't teach someone who doesn't already have it. This wasn't a guy treading water. This was a guy climbing. The Browns went into this offseason knowing they had a quarterback competition on their hands. Deshaun Watson on one side, a former superstar trying to claw his way back after one of the most painful injury stretches a player can go through, and Shedeur on the other, young, unproven at this level, but carrying something you can't manufacture. He carries belief. His own, his father's, and now an entire fan base that's decided he's worth fighting for. That dynamic is rare, genuinely rare. Most backup quarterbacks, most young guys fighting for a roster spot, they exist in silence. They grind in practice and nobody outside the building really cares. But Shedeur Sanders cannot exist in silence. Everywhere he goes, the volume goes up. At Colorado, it turned a program that was struggling into a national media event. Now in Cleveland, it's doing something similar, except the stakes are NFL level, and the politics are a lot messier.
Can you keep him as the backup if he doesn't win the starting job?
I think it would be challenging. I think it would be very challenging. I think the Browns probably believe they can do that, but I think that perhaps they would be underestimating the reaction that would be happening at Huntington Bank Field. And they'll probably get a taste of it in preseason, and they should. They should find out what happens when you put Deshaun Watson out there and when you put Shedeur out there.
Because this isn't just about football anymore. It's about what Cleveland as a city deserves. Browns fans have watched this franchise cycle through quarterbacks for decades. They've invested emotionally in guys who didn't pan out, guys who got hurt, guys who just weren't good enough. And now they see someone they want to believe in, someone who actually seems to want to be there. And the response from parts of the media is essentially, pump the brakes, manage expectations, don't get attached. But fans don't work like that. People don't work like that. When you believe in someone, you believe in them. And if the Browns put Deshaun Watson on that field week 1 and Shedeur is standing on the sideline in a baseball cap, Huntington Bank Field is going to let them know exactly how it feels. Loudly, clearly, repeatedly. Mary Kay said it herself. They'll probably get a taste of it in the preseason. And she's right. This isn't a secret. The Browns organization knows what's coming if Watson starts. They know Shedeur might actually be better received on the road than he would be at home. Not because the fans don't love him, but because they love him so much that seeing someone else play instead will feel like a personal loss. That's power. That's the kind of connection most athletes spend their entire careers trying to build. And people want to trade it away.
Well, yeah. I mean, here's the thing. I'm sure the Browns would think that even if Deshaun starts the season, they want to keep Shedeur around because generally they end up starting 2, 3, 4, 5 quarterbacks in a season, and they probably would get a chance to see Shedeur like they did last year when he came from fourth-string quarterback to starting quarterback of this football team for the final 7 games. So there is probably a world in which he would start games even if he doesn't start the season. But right now,
Now, to be fair, and this is important, the Browns haven't said they're shopping him. They haven't said they want to move him. Every indication from inside that building is that this quarterback competition is real, that both guys have a genuine shot, and that they want to see how camp plays out before any decisions get made. That's the right approach. That's how it should be handled. But here's what sticks with you. The fact that the conversation about trading him exists at all, before camp, before preseason, before a single regular season snap, tells you something about how uncomfortable some people are with the idea of Shedeur Sanders actually winning. Last year, this kid went from being the 4th-string quarterback on the depth chart to starting 7 games. 7! He didn't ask for a soft landing. He didn't get to ease into it. He got thrown into the fire with a team that was still figuring itself out, under a coaching staff that wasn't going to be there the following year, with the entire football world watching to see him stumble. And he didn't stumble. He competed. That matters. That's not nothing. That's actually a lot. The new coaching staff has seen the tape. They've watched what he did in those 7 games. They've spent OTAs and minicamp with him in the building, in the film room, on the practice field. And they came out of that experience not looking to trade him. They came out of it committed to letting this competition play out. If you're a Browns fan, if you believe in this kid, that should tell you something. This isn't a situation where the organization is secretly hoping to move on. The noise is coming from outside the building, and outside noise, no matter how loud it gets, doesn't decide who starts week 1. What happens in training camp does, what happens in the preseason does, what Shedeur Sanders does when the lights come on and the pads go on and the competition gets real, that's what decides it. And if you've watched this young man at all, really watched him, not the narrative around him, but the actual player, you already know he's not scared of that moment. He was raised in football. He was raised by a man who built programs from nothing, who took athletes nobody believed in and turned them into something real. Shedeur watched that happen up close his whole life. He knows what it looks like to be doubted. He knows what it looks like to keep working anyway. That's not a disadvantage. That's a foundation.
If you're someone who's been following this story, if you found this channel because you care about what happens next, hit that subscribe button, because this story is just getting started and every chapter matters.
Here's where things stand going into camp. 2 quarterbacks, 1 job, a fan base that's already chosen a side, a media that can't stop talking about an exit before the entrance has even happened, and a young quarterback from Colorado by way of Jackson State, carrying his father's last name and his own talent, walking into a competition he genuinely believes he can win. He might be right. He might not get there. Camp could go either way, and the preseason will tell us things we don't know yet. But the idea that he should be traded before he even gets the chance, that says everything about the people making the argument and nothing about the player they're arguing about. Shedeur Sanders earned his spot in that competition. He earned the right to be taken seriously. And if he wins that job, when the Browns name their Week 1 starter and his name is the one they call, every single person who spent these months trying to talk him out the door is going to have to find something else to say. Cleveland is watching, and honestly, so is everybody else.